Welcome to the episode 2 of Disrupt This. As you may have seen in episode 1, Disrupt This is a series which is exploring how technology is evolving, how customer behavior is evolving, and in that context, we need to build products differently. We need to build a customer experience differently. We need to build service experience differently, and we have an opportunity of bringing various experts and leaders across the industry who can give their insights, their frameworks, their methods of how they actually solve this. So today we have the opportunity of having Ravindra Govindani, who is the product head for merchant payments as part of Amazon Pay. We're very lucky to have his perspective because his experience in payments, especially, is quite deep. And then across his product journey, there are many gems and caveats that we'll be able to learn from there. So, Ravindra, I would love to hear a bit about your journey. On to you.
Hey, thanks, Amber. Thanks for it. First of all, thanks for inviting me to the Futurist podcast. I think it's a great initiative you and your team have taken up. Uh, I'm sure like we will also learn more by virtue of these podcasts, and happy to part of this podcast and share about a bit about my learnings as well. Just for the everyone's context, I have been currently with Amazon Pay and been into fintech ecosystem for last 8 plus years, and prior to that, 6 years into the e-commerce. So all in all, like 15 plus years of experience I bring into the e-commerce and the payments ecosystem. And I'm pretty excited to talk more about how AI is making payments. We are seeing a massive transformation in today's world, specifically in last 1 year. Everyone has been on their toes to learn more on what is happening, to get course corrected on how to think when you have to think about AI, and specifically in the context of payments. So, yeah, very excited for this podcast and share some of the frameworks and learnings I have come across over last period of last one and a half year.
Fantastic. I mean, very critical conversation to have, and you because the scale of AI and what it can do generates great value, but it generates a lot of myths as well. And it's important to demystify some of that so that product leaders across companies can find relevance and understand how to implement it. And would love to get your help to demystify the same as well. And one of the myths that I've been hearing is that put a chatbot or mostly it's a natural language processing or NLP implementation that you do, whether it's text based or voice based, and pretty much that's what AI can do. Is there more?
Mhm. Well, definitely a large part of how we have been learning about AI is pretty much this. Uh, just to put things in perspective, like today, the entire AI boom hype has happened because of the transformers and the LLMs, the large language models like uh, ChatGPT, Gemini, Rufus, Llama. I mean, they have captured our uh, imaginations. They're great at like languages, summarizing the languages, generating the codes, maybe. But I think AI has been in place for many years. I would just say that. Like there have been classic machine learning models. That was a phase zero or phase one of AI per se. Like we used to have them for decision trees, detecting fraud, trade risk, demand forecasting. Like so, this has been in place for like many years. So it's not new. Like at Amazon also, I'm sure like a lot of customers who have shopped using Amazon, they would have purchased using, because you purchased this, here is what we are recommending. So the recommendation engines have been in place, which are like, for collaborative filtering and vectors engine, and they have been extensively used in e-commerce payments for cross-selling, discovery, etc. There have been image models who have been in place. Like we have been using OCR as a technology, which is also pretty much for an AI technology for automating our KYC or detect like transforming a PDF or an image into a PDF. Then there have been voice models which have been in place, and we have been seeing automated chatbots, etc., for quite some period of time. Then there are like Yeah, so different variety of models have been in place. So what has happened of late is that ALLMs have captured all of our imaginations by virtue of the apps like ChatGPT, the movement that started 2.5 years ago. What has also happened is that I think with the model context protocols, all these different AI models are we are able to bring them together and say that okay, how each of these models can talk to each other, and there is a central layer of MCP which can actually make get the job done. For example, if I have to ask where is my product, then the different and I just upload the image of that my order, then there is a OCR model which can kind of convert that into a vector-based data, and then that data can be consumed by another model, which can go and ping different data layers and check that where is my order, and probably get back to me as a customer. Where there's a language learning model which actually transform that database into a language which can be comprehensible by the customer. So this has been a great revolution. That all the models coming together is a great revolution, but separate individual AI models have been in place for quite a large period of time. So that was like one observation that I had. But yeah, things are evolving at a very rapid pace, and everyone has to be on their toes. That's
Very
very clear.
interesting. Very interesting. And the breadth, what I'd say, the breadth of AI technology available is vast. And then you put it in a nutshell that everyone needs to be on their toes. Everyone needs to be, in fact, whether unlearning or learning very fast, all of these arsenal of things that they require to build in this future is very, very essential. And I'm sure people will reach out to you later for tips. And then what was your approach? How did you go about, as a product leader and even for your teams, orienting yourself with regards to all these different technologies and how to apply them? Very interesting. Now, but how is the strategy at Amazon Pay evolving? So with all of these AI technologies and advent, what's the thought process there?
So maybe let's do this. Like Amazon Pay is quite broad and large automation. Maybe I can. So what I do is that me and my team are like in the mission of like um, expanding the access and availability of Amazon Pay suite of products at large number of merchants in India. And so we have two type of customers. The first type of customer is a payer, and the second type of customer is a merchant. And in this entire eco space of merchant acceptance, which is not just relevant for my team, but any e-commerce product manager who is like involved into payment acceptance. This is a kind of a framework which is valid for all of those people as well. There, there are broadly three areas to think when you think about AI. How do you improve the conversions on the payer side? AI optimized payments and consistent improvement in the conversions is one area. Then second is like for the merchants who are accepting payments, how do you drive more and more data-driven insights and kind of embedded intelligence? I'll talk more about that. And third large bucket is about like how do you drive next generation operational intelligence and the cost efficiency per se. Probably in the first bucket itself, like there are a lot of opportunities that how do you kind of at the real time detect that what are the success rates, latencies, and do a kind of a smart payment orchestration. And this has been happening, just that now the way to do this will become even more easier. What kind of recommendations to offer to the customers? How do you kind of pursue self healing so that like auto switching happens on the various payment service provider? Retries are more intuitive to the customers, and in the nutshell, how do I improve the conversions? The second area which I spoke about is how do you drive like insights and kind of intelligence for the merchants themselves, like which customers merchant should offer us say a buy now pay later offer, kind of a payment offering, or kind of offer them a loyalty, or I came across this very interesting example on Stripe. Like there are, sorry, in the payments there is something called chargeback, and customers create chargebacks that there was an issue with the payment and they did not receive the payment, or they were like they had some abusive experience on the payment. So which chargebacks to contest and which chargebacks to not contest, driving that intelligent to a merchant is something what
Very
Stripe
interesting.
demoed
Very interesting.
very
Because instead
recently.
of actually going to the
Right? That's a
recon and
brilliant
then
example.
hunting every single thing, they can get advice from that. But then
Correct.
it's a trust thing, right? They have to trust the AI as well.
Yes. Of course, there is a bias and there is a hallucination, those kind of challenges which also need to overcome. But I think the smarter your data layers are, I think more efficiently you can do that. And the third and the most important area, I believe, which AI can attack is driving a brilliant next generation operational intelligence and cost efficiency. In this, like how to reduce fraud, abuse. There's a whole lot of operations behind the scenes which happens to run a payments business. How do you drive more and more processes with the help of AI? How do you become smarter and leaner? So these are the three broad areas I think from a payments point of view. I believe like these are three themes in which things are going to
Very interesting.
expand.
So in the merchant side of story, and you were talking about that, you know, hyper personalization would happen. Again, what offers are being pushed over there, and what recommendations are being pushed to the merchants themselves in that. So a lot of hyper personalization can be enabled through this.
Well, hyper personalization can happen, cannot happen, but I think probably it, we have a little bit way to go because I think, in my view, the best type of hyper personalization is like what has been in the context of payment, like what has been my most recently used payment. I have seen that there are a lot of intelligent payment models which come with recommendation, but my most recently used payment method kind of that beats the success rate, click through rates, then all the recommendation a payment model can come. So we don't need to complicate things where things are very simple and already working. uh, that would be my take. So there's a way to go, but as I was talking about, like uh, the operational intelligence is an area where I am at least very optimistic that we can see a lot of disruption. Um, I mean, you would remember this famous quote from Michael Porter. Michael Porter said that operational efficiency is not a strategy, definitely not a strategy. So it will not achieve you next product market value fit, uh, product market fit, right? But if you're a large organization running a payments business, be it you are an e-commerce organization or a standalone fintech organization, right? You're catering to a massive user base of India. Like India has 450 million plus digital customers. How do you serve those customers seamlessly? Uh, Also, because of the fact that payments is a complete digital layer, unlike e-commerce where deliveries are involved and on-ground operations happen, the entire supply chain of operations in payments is digital in nature. There's a massive opportunity to optimize things. If there is any issue happening, how the AI so also a MCP agent can just go and keep pinging different data layers and bring up the solution on what went wrong for this specific payment and how you can show the right optimized error message to the customer and probably give the empathy to the customer boss like there's something went wrong at this bank and we're still working and we'll get back to you in 12 hours. So a lot of optimization can happen on the customer service front, internal operations, and so on.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
Very interesting. So it can hit the bottom line very strongly, but can also hit the top line as well, and deliver impact there as well. And I really like what you said, that don't overcomplicate things. What's working, right? If the most frequently used payment method, surfacing that's working around there, AIification of that may not make life better, might actually get more confusion. You deliver value and solve use cases where there is true ROI and true potential value in these technologies as well. Don't have to spray everything with AI and take it from there.
I would just like to quote something like, since you asked like how do you think in Amazon Pay, and so I mean in general, where do we stand as Amazon? I think we continue with our tradition to stay in touch with reality, be grounded, avoid extreme overhyping, I would say, and deliver real value to our customers. So the grandiose vision may become a reality one day, but I think like it is still a long winded path uh, to go. Uh, I mean, on this still long winded path, I'll also like to share one recent video which I saw. It was a some senior person from OpenAI, Andrew Carpathy, and he was sharing his experience that the first self-driving car he experienced that was in back in 2013. Uh, and it's been 12 years since then. And now is the first time Tesla is like rolling out its pilots in some parts of USA on the self-driving car. So it's been that long a journey where we can say that AI can eliminate humans completely. Of course, Google has been into this space for last couple of years of like eliminating humans for driving as well. But the overhyped part of AI that elimination of happens will have may happen or may not is a pretty long journey, I would say. So stay grounded, bring in as much efficiency as possible, and do more things with what you gain in the bottom line. That's the mantra.
Very interesting. Very interesting. But you talked about the fact that this no hype approach, no hype, being grounded. So, what comes to your mind? What do you think is possible near term? No hype, absolutely grounded. What do you think is actually going to hit the ground?
Well, no hype. What I meant with no hype is that you should be actually delivering value to the customer as well. Having said that, internet has been following a trend. And let me take like let's go back 25, 30 years back. Uh, Early internet days, Yahoo was there, and Yahoo brought up all the hyperlinks together, uh, and customers got a website where they can browse and explore. And then Google came. Google said like you don't need a collection of hyperlinks. Here is a search, and you can explore anything you would want to. Like, and it kind of unbundled Yahoo and created a completely new destination for us.
Yeah. So we can reach out the fact that no hype, and you were giving examples about how Yahoo was doing something.
Yeah. So, well, that's a great question. With no hype, I meant that I didn't mean that like you do not need to think big. Think you definitely should think big, and a lot of disruption is about to happen. At the same time, you should ensure that you are delivering real value to your customers, acquiring new users. Uh, that's what I meant, just to clarify that. And maybe I would like to go 25, 30 years back in the history of internet and share an example of bundling and unbundling. Early internet days, Yahoo was there, and Yahoo brought all the hyperlinks together and said that this is a destination where you can kind of browse everything which is available on the internet. Google kind of came and unbundled that entire trend and said that here is a search box and you can just do whatever you want. You don't need the collection of hyperlinks curated by someone else. A decade later down the line, App Store and Google Play Store came into the picture where they said like now to explore all the mobile applications, here are the best in class mobile applications which are curated in a store, and you don't need to rely on Google to that extent to get your jobs done. I think that was again another bundling and unbundling kind of a shift that happened. I think in next 2 to 3 years we are sitting at the cusp of another shift happening where all the consumer eyeballs will shift to some new platforms which are completely created using the agentic AI and the MCPs of the world. Where let's understand what ChatGPT is trying to do. It is like inviting all the developers on the earth and telling them that you create your agents which can get the jobs done for your customers. and they're inviting all the developers openly to do that. And with this soon, what will happen is that customers will start moving to these experiences. And of course, ChatGPT may eventually monetize that part uh, of the platform which has built at a later point in time. But slowly, we will realize that the customer mindshare has shifted to a completely new set of applications. So a lot of distribution shift is going to happen now. Whether that distribution shift will be concentrated to few GPT based applications, or whether there will be far more power in the hands of developers and creators itself, I think time is only going to tell. But a lot of innovation and bundling, unbundling kind of a disruption is going to happen over there. Yeah, there's a brilliant analogy I read from Brian Flood. And I really like this mental model of how AI is shifting from just a new technology to a new distribution paradigm itself. Companies must use this time window, like integrate, build defensibility, and own their user experience. And they should not think about like concentrating on few. At least the large companies should like try to get dispersed across many of these applications and see like where the customer preference comes into picture. Yeah, so there's the one part of the innovation or the thing big sort
Very
of
interesting.
uh, is
In
going to
fact,
happen.
so the GPTs are the new apps, and ChatGPT is like the new app store for people to be able to access that. And the major difference is you don't necessarily have to be a developer to be able to build a GPT. Right? You can use a base model, and then you can train this. You could be a lawyer, you could be anybody else, you could be teaching product, and you can put your understanding into a GPT, package that, and do that. So the creation of the service has also become exponentially easier as compared to what it required to be an app store. And I've been an app store developer, and I understand the challenges because I have to learn Objective C. Right? I had to learn Java. I had to learn a bunch of these different technologies to be able to actually code both for Android and iOS. Now that barrier to entry is not there and far easier. So we could see that not just a distribution shift, but a distribution disruption potentially could happen.
Yeah, I think like you have brought a brilliant point, Amber. Like what you are saying that be it a lawyer or any kind of a person I am, and I can put forward my idea and kind of create a GPT backward or agentic AI backward application. So, I mean, a lot of people are saying that developers are going to lose their jobs, etc., etc. Right? So the classic analogy that comes to my mind that like 15 years down the line, we used to have like this big box of CPUs and there was a monitor, and we used to care about what is my hard disk, where is my floppy disk, where is the CD-ROM, and how's my processor looking like, and all those things. Today, all those things have been like literally abstracted. Do you really care that much in your MacBook? I don't think so, right? I think similarly, software is getting abstracted at that level, that layer, that you're not going to care about the internal layers of the code building. Like code creation of code and creation of applications is going to become far more easier. I think there is a in this industry term called vibe coding, which is also emerging, that a lot of people who have never coded will be able to create applications, etc. I call it something called as that AI velocity loop. This AI velocity loop is going to accelerate the pace of innovation, and it is going to empower each and every individual to put forth their idea in the hands of customers and try out whether customers like the idea or not, and whether they are able to get that option or not. And in the quest of doing all of this, what we are going to see is some of the platforms which are enabling all these so-called white coders will become very large. How much of power concentration happens to those is a question we'll get to know, and how much power remains with the developers with the white coders will get to know in over a period of next 6 to 24 months, I would say. But the pace of I mean innovation is just going to accelerate, and I think the people who know these tactics will just flourish over a
Very
period of
interesting.
time.
Yeah. So AI velocity loop, right? That we have you to thank for this very interesting approach towards building and enabling AI, doing very quick iterations, quick experiments in terms of what will work, what doesn't work. To enable these experiments, to enable this AI velocity loops, are there certain things that organizations need to have as fundamentals ready before they can even try this?
Yeah, no, this is a very, very important question. What you are saying is that how organizations, at least the medium to large size organizations, are enabling their employees to create this AI velocity loop and probably accelerate the pace of innovation. And I think organizations shift and need to shift their thinking in terms of creating those tools, making them available to each and every employee. Also, drive a lot of learning and adoption of those tools. For example, at Amazon, we have something called Amazon Q, and with Amazon Q, you are able to create a host of applications and validate your ideas. So it is actually enabling a lot of employees to create their apps, test out with the internal set of users, and see that whether the idea can grow or not. I'm sure like other large organizations must also be putting up those kind of ideas in place. If they are not, they must be worried that why are they not doing that. But a lot of training to the employees shall happen so that, and the tool should be available in the hands of each and every contributor who wants to innovate.
Very interesting. And then any infrastructure which the besides providing tool that organizations need to have in ready. Like in the payment space, can organizations start this AI velocity loops tomorrow, or they need to have something ready?
Yeah. No, I think you have asked the question that where rubber hits the road. Like all this gyan and the talk is like good, but how to make rubber hit the road? And in my view, there's one most fundamental aspect which at least all the payment organizations should care about, and that is the data layer. How unified and abstracted your data layer is going to kind of define the success and create this AI velocity loop for that organizations? Like, are you able to recover data from, not recover, are you able to access data from like various multiple microservices like orders, payments, risks, offers, uh, payment service provider, health? Like, all of this abstracted behind a unified data layer which is accessible to an say MCP agent? Are these data layers available in near real time streaming or not? For example, uh, uh, if there is a event called payment attempt created, like how real time this is available, which can kind of create a feedback loop and also kind of create a access to that application and so on. So the data layer is going to play the most important role on creation of this AI velocity loop. In absence of data, like just fix the foundations first, invest the next 6 months in just getting those data layer in place and then accelerate the space of innovation. Otherwise, you will end up building something very hollow and not meaningful to the customer.
So, in growth as an area, right, and potential impact of AI, what AI can do in that.
I think in the growth as an area, again, AI is not going to enable you identify your product market fit. It is only going to accelerate your journeys to drive growth. And we kind of spoke about that how uh, create an idea, create a prototype out of that, build it out, and test it out in the market. I think this entire loop of validating ideas will improve, which shall eventually drive the growth as well. Uh, and again, like it is going to give more and more power to the real creators, to the real owners who want to pursue that. And that's how the every organization shall end up driving growth from the new stream of ideas that we emerge. And second part of growth, like we don't, a lot of times we think of growth as like increasing the top line. The real growth is also improving the bottom line. I think we spoke at length about how seamlessly you can build in the operational intelligence and cost efficiency in your organization. That's a massive growth also, which is going to happen. So these are the two areas like all the organizations and the whole leaders of those organizations shall focus upon so that uh, this exponential wave they are able to tap as well.
Fantastic. I mean, this is great insights. There are some really great gems for the audience to take away. If you were to leave the audience, and especially product leaders who are gearing up to embrace AI as part of whatever they are leading or whatever they are building on that, two caveats that you would leave for them.
In the context of that discussion we had, and one of the caveat one of the takeaways a caveat that without data layer, you have a non-starter play in AI. So fix your data layer first. The second takeaway is that like to enable the AI velocity loop in your own organization, like make the AI accessible to all your employees, drive the learning transformation that needs to happen. And probably I have a third takeaway in this as well that uh, to focus on all the operational intelligence that can happen in your organization so that you are able to fix your bottom line and do far more things. So these are like immediate here and now things. We don't need to value in future whether this will happen without any overhyping around that. Like these are very much the things you can get rolling starting tomorrow. So that would be my three takeaways in the context of
Very
this
interesting. Very
discussion.
interesting. And thank you so much for all the insights, all the frameworks. Uh, I love AI velocity loops. That's something that's my key takeaway notes that I've taken from this session as well. But thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure the audience will be reaching out to you very soon, both from understanding the breadth and depth of AI and how they can learn about that, and then some more of your tips and tips in terms of how to implement the same. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks again, Amber, for inviting me to the Futures podcast. I will keep watching what more podcasts are here to come. Thanks again, and looking forward to connect with you. Thank you.